All right, so I finished my row on the right side of the sweater, and now I'm getting ready to work on the wrong side where I have all my floats that you can see. And I've untangled my skeins because when you are floating yarn, the two colors that you're working with will become intertwined and you have to untangle them. So that's what I just did. I untangled. So I have my, since I'm working with the green, that's my primary color right now. I have my green skein on the left and my black is the floater one right now. So it's here on the right. And I want my green yarn to be here on the top because that's what I'm working with. So this is the side that was really confusing for me to do the floating. And I had trouble with it. I kept dropping the float. So this is what I wanted to show you guys, how I figured out the way to do it, because the people making the videos didn't actually explain this. The position of your yarn skeins is what determines whether or not you're going to catch these floats, how you have your yarn hanging. So I have my, like I said, my black is hanging underneath the green. And since I'm working on the back side, now all my stitches are purl. So I'm going to purl 3 stitches as I would. So I'm going to do that. Try to hold this back so you guys can see better. Well, so I'll go 1, 2, and then 3. Now on the 4th one, this is the one where we want to carry the float. I'm going to insert my needle as if to purl, and I'm going to take my black yarn, see it's underneath this is just laying on top of it, and I'm going to wrap this around as if to purl, and I'm going to hold on to that piece with my thumb. And then you want to take your working yarn, wrap it around. Now I'm going to let go of this black, hold the green, and I'm actually going to pull the black off like this. As you can see, it's caught it right here. So now all you want to do is pull this purl stitch off. And as you can see, we've caught our float right here. When I attempted to do this the first several times, it wasn't catching. The yarn would just fall back down and hang where it was. And the reason for this was because I didn't have this yarn hanging directly underneath the green and the skein, this skein on the right side. So if you guys try that, see, I'll do it again. Let's do another one. We'll do 1, 2, 3, and then when I get to this 4th one, poke it through as if to purl it, but don't yet. We're going to slip underneath here, and we're going to grab our black and wrap it around as if we're going to purl it, but don't. Now we're going to take our green, and we're going to wrap it around the same way, and I'm going to let go of this black. And I'm going to take this part of the black and pull it off, and as you can see, it's caught right there. That's what you want, is for it to be caught in that loop. And then you just pull it through like that, and then you have your float right there. And this is just going to continue as I keep going this way. But like I said, it wasn't catching on the float wasn't catching on the green yarn when I would do that step, and I couldn't figure out why for the longest time. And it's because I didn't have my my black underneath the green, and the skein, kind of off to the right of it. So when I replaced the yarn and had the green over the top, then it would catch the float when I wrapped it around. So for those of you that have not done this before, and you watch the people doing the videos on YouTube on how to do it, and then you do it the same exact way they show you, but it doesn't catch the float, and you're like, why isn't it catching? That's the reason, because your yarn has to be in the correct position, which the floating yarn always needs to be underneath, your main color that you're working with. And then, of course, when you switch colors, and when I switch to the black, which I will be doing a little bit further down here, then the green will go underneath the black, and I'll have to untangle my yarn, because as you see, it does tangle up as it goes because you're intertwining it. So be sure you straighten those out so that you don't get too many tangles. But so that's basically it. That's all you do, and you just keep doing that. So I do a little bit different technique. This technique that I just showed you on the front, you can also do it on the back side, and that was another video that I'd watched, and I couldn't get that float to catch either, which is why I was doing that other way where you just flip your float yarn over the top of the other one and then wrap it through, and it just seemed easier for me that way. So I do a different technique when I'm working on the front of the sweater versus the back side. And one of the other ladies that was showing how to do this floating stuff, she said that intarsia knitting, true intarsia knitting, is usually done in the round, and you're not typically working on the back side of the project like I am here. But there are some instances where patterns, I guess, will call for this sort of thing. And this is just my own concoction because, you know, my son wanted this creeper sweater thing, and I wanted to kind of do my own pattern, sort of. But I did find just a basic, you know, stockinette stitch pattern for a sweater in his size. And then I just implemented the creeper part of it myself because it was easier to do, but I knew I was going to have to float the yarn, so this is why I ended up doing this. So I took a pattern and then modified it to my own thing. I've never actually created my own patterns when it comes to sweaters and things that you know, wear. Maybe I have for like a scarf or something simple, but not for sweaters. And I've made several sweaters and cardigans and things, but I've always just taken other people's patterns and made them, and, you know, given them as gifts to people, or given them to my kids. My kids are always asking me to make them toys and different things, and so, but I hope this is helpful to somebody. It was for me. When I was so glad when I figured this out, because they don't really explain. I mean, they tell you to have your floating yarn underneath this, but I didn't quite understand exactly how that was supposed to be. And then when I figured this out, I thought, oh, I better make a video and share this with maybe some, you know, beginning knitters, newer knitters that don't know what they're doing. I still don't know what I'm doing with a lot of things, but I hope this was helpful, and you can let me know. And if any of you have any requests to make, you know, something, if there's something you're struggling with, I don't know, you could ask me, and maybe I might know how to do it, or maybe I don't. I'm not an expert knitter, but I'm still learning. But I'm willing to make a video to help out. So if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to comment or message me, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. And thanks for watching.